Good afternoon. Thank you for listening to Listed by Mina Kuper, KHTS Hometown Station, 98.1 FM, 1220 AM, and Happy New Year, everyone. 2021 is going to be amazing. We're going to all make it amazing. I have a special guest on my show every Tuesday at 2 p.m., and we are about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. These are things that people often call me randomly, even attorneys, and ask me questions. And because I am a realtor that deals with these issues as well as your first-time home buyers, but I do focus a lot on trust, probate, and divorce, I've learned a lot. And a lot of people get sidetracked, and then they're in the situation, and they don't know what to do and who to ask. And that's what we're here for, to find out what you should know that you don't know or you're not sure if you know. So I have a special guest on, one of my sponsors, Felicia Jurado with Jurado Insurance, and she's local here in Newhall. And I am so excited that I met Felicia because she's a wealth of knowledge, and she has gotten people out of certain issues when closing on a real estate property that a lot of people would not have caught. And she's one of those take charge type of people that will make sure everything gets done because you don't want to be in a home you just purchased with no insurance. And so she has remedied that. That is not a good idea. And today, Felicia, I want to touch, I don't like to bring up the subject of earthquakes, but we do live in a state that does have earthquakes, and sometimes they may even be large earthquakes, and you want to be protected. This is the reality. Hopefully all goes well, and, we get through it as well. So, Felicia, what are some things that people should look at? What are other options with earthquake insurance? I know when there was a large one, what was in the 90s, before I was even in L.A.
94.
I'm in New York. 84, right.
94.
94. I'm a New Yorker, so I came here almost 19 years ago, and I luckily was not in it. But I know there was a lot of people that lost their properties and didn't have proper insurance or didn't have any insurance or whatever the story was. And we certainly don't want that to happen to anyone today. So can you tell us a little bit about what people need to know, what's available to them, how expensive is it?
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mina, for having me on my show, and I really appreciate you as well. And so back in 94 and even before then, earthquake insurance was considered a peril, insured on your normal homeowner's policy. But after the 94 earthquake, something big kind of happened in the insurance world and all the companies, and some things happened that shouldn't have happened, and I don't want to get into all that, but they readjusted how they handle that type of catastrophe because we have so much more now property and building and population, and it's growing and so on and so forth. What they had to do is separate the earthquake out of the homeowner's policies, and you have to purchase your own earthquake coverage. And it goes along with so many separate rules than just your normal homeowner's policy. So in ways that your personal property is covered under your personal, homeowner's insurance might not be the same under the California Earthquake Authority policy. It's all through the California Earthquake Authority, and I just really try to guide my clients into what's the best options for them, and we go through, and there's so many different things to choose, like deductibles and types of coverages you need. But yeah, I just, I try to educate my clients in that type of hazard and what it means to have that separate policy attached to your home. Because it is, like I said, it's now separated out from your homeowner's policy. You can't just make a claim. So anything that happens, in the earthquake that damages, your home isn't going to be covered unless you have that earthquake policy.
And Felicia, when someone has an HOA, so there are PUDs, which are single families, and they're in a community area that share a pool or what have you, and then there's HOAs where you're in a condo and the inside of your walls are what you are responsible for, and sometimes the roofs. It depends on the HOA. Do these PUDs and do they cover earthquake insurance, or should you have a separate policy?
Well, if you live in a condo situation and you have homeowner association, and the earthquake policies for a condo will cover, that's the difference. It's a huge difference, actually. So the condo policies cover everything inside your walls. Anything outside those walls that it's common area, the HOA has these master policies. And when you buy a condo, you should have coverage that also helps pay for what's called loss assessment. So the HOA is going to have a master policy, a master commercial policy, and everybody's going to pretty much have to pay a portion of it into it. So, for instance, you have a building, okay, and it's got 7 different condos within that one building, and the building shifts off that foundation. So every condo owner is going to, part of their earthquake policy is going to pay a portion of the master policy to cover outside the walls. Your personal policy of earthquake, what that covers, the inside of the walls is all your personal stuff. So your breakables, your TVs, like if walls crack inside the house, maybe your cabinet, something happens to anything inside. Condo policy is covered under your personal coverage. Again, they will also attach a portion of the HOA's deductible onto that condo policy. That would never happen with just a single-family home because, like in my house is just a single home. My earthquake policy covers the entire structure. So I don't have any loss assessment on my earthquake insurance because there's no HOA. Some homeowners that have single dwelling do have HOAs that they have to pay into with the common grounds, like the pools and cement and anything else that could damage that the HOA is responsible for that you're a part of. So does that answer your question? Is that what you were?
Yes, it does. Yes,
okay.
Yes. It's good to know because I think people kind of, have a little confusion, and that goes because all HOAs and things that cover different things, but typically always check your own.
What I think the confusion is when you're buying a condo and you have this loss assessment that, the condo, I've had people say, my condominium has an HOA policy. And I explained to them, yes, they do, but that's only for the outside of your home. That HOA policy does not cover anything that's your personal property. So you can lose everything inside of your house, to damage by an earthquake, and that condo policy is not going to pay for your personal items. That condo policy is only going to pay to make sure the building is sound, that if there's anything that happened to the outside of the building or the roof or anything like that, that's what that HOA policy pays for. But you still should carry a personal policy that covers, all your other stuff that's inside the house. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, so technically I've been through 2 massive earthquakes. I was a child in the 71, but I was here in 94. And I'm going to tell you that it was a disaster. I mean, literally everything in the kitchen that was in the cabinets was on the middle. It was just in the middle of the floor. I mean, bottles, your plates, your glasses. My mom had these, she had these china cabinets with all the china in them that just toppled over. So everything in those china cabinets was on the floor, shattered. She had a bar that the glasses were hanging. They knocked into each other, and you just had the steps hanging. Televisions fell off. And now we have different TVs now. They're mounted to the wall, so a little less likely. But we still have crystal and have, our valuables that are breakable that break. And it's not just your plates, like I said, or china cabinets came toppling over, and it was an amount of destruction. So, it was pretty shocking. So, it's not just, your picture's not just going to fall over. Like an earthquake seriously shakes up the entire house. About it, I've been through it, but, it's you don't realize, like, what can happen. And that's why we talk about the earthquake insurance and how it's written now. Like, for instance, your typical California Earthquake Authority policy excludes all of your breakables. I don't know if most people know this. You have to make sure you add back in the endorsement that includes your unbreakables. Now, it's not that much more to do it. It might be $70 more a year to make sure that endorsement's attached. But if you don't have an agent that really kind of combs through, what's going on, you're buying coverage that, you're going to be losing some of what you need to have covered if you don't make sure the proper endorsements are included back into it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And, I'm not looking forward to that, but, it is what it is. Nothing is perfect in life. But so how do they judge how much to charge people for earthquake insurance? Is it expensive?
It's more expensive, obviously, in certain zip codes because the zip codes dictate the aggregators and how they handle what the catastrophe was, because they all follow these disaster numbers. So some zip codes, for instance, like in San Diego, any of the beach towns, those zip codes are very inexpensive because earthquake doesn't typically, the fault lines, but you're not on a fault line. So you have to understand these fault lines run through certain zip codes that are highly more affected than some of the surrounding areas. So if you're in a zip code that's on a fault line or anywhere near a fault line that's registered over the last two massive earthquakes we've had, those zip codes are going to rate a bit higher than, say, if you lived in like San Juan Capistrano. But it's still very affordable. I have not seen any California Earthquake Authority policy right now that's like, okay, obviously the fire hazard insurance is what's, completely out of hand right now, but the earthquake is not. And I really recommend, if you do not have, or if you have not placed earthquake insurance yet, it's time. You really should place it. You should make sure everything is covered, because, we live on a fault line that has activity every 20 or so years, and we're due. And so I tell everybody that I know that doesn't have it yet, it's like, you need to get it. You need to have it, even if it's just you could also choose your deductibles, which the earthquake deductibles go on a percentage of the dwelling coverage. So say you have $400,000 worth of dwelling coverage, you could choose a 5% deductible, a 10%, 15, and 20, meaning that it's the percentage of that dwelling cost. So if you choose 10% of a $400,000 dwelling coverage, your deductible will be $40,000 to fix if your home should get destroyed. And I just want people to realize that in 94, homes were like shifting off their foundation. So the damage could be astronomical, and $40,000 gets absorbed like immediately. Like you think, oh my God, that's so much money. But if you're looking at a $100,000 fix, it's not And a lot of times FEMA will come in, and I can't speak for FEMA and our disaster relief, but a lot of times they'll come in and they'll help people with their deductibles. They're not going to help people rebuild their houses like everybody thinks they are. Maybe at one point they did, but they don't do that anymore. FEMA's very, the disaster relief funds now are becoming more and more limited, and I've seen where they'll help with their deductibles, which it's a huge relief. And then once those deductibles are absorbed, then you just get a check back from for your damages. But I really recommend having it. I mean, being through them, being through earthquakes and seeing what can happen, it's just something I highly recommend for people.
Yes, I agree. And, I was like, oh, so it's a pandemic, and now I'm going to talk about earthquakes. Why don't we just talk about
I know. Happy New Year, Mina. What I want people to understand, though, is it's not a bad thing to think about this protection. No. What the bad thing is to be caught without it. And
that's
preparedness
right.
and having, yes, and being prepared is what is really like the key here. And I think for the new year, let's just prepare. I think that's a great New Year, mindset of what do I need to do to prepare myself so that we can just, we could be okay.
My New Year's resolution mantra: be safe and prepare. Proactive.
Right. Mm-hmm. And this is exactly being proactive, just making sure everything's in place.
Felicia, what's a good way for people to get in touch with you? And while we're on the radio, we do stream on Facebook. So I know that some of you don't have time while you're driving, and you want to swing back and hear this again for your information. And Felicia will comment, as well as I will, on Facebook on Hometown Station, KHTS, so that you can do this whenever you have some time and kind of jot down things that you should prepare for. And Felicia will give you that information now, and she will also put that in the comments.
Sure. Okay, so our office phone number is 661-288-2001. I'll repeat that. It's 661-288-2001. You can call us at any time, and what I'll do is when I comment, I'll put all the different ways to reach us through email, website, phone number. That way, whatever type of communication, anybody likes to use, it's available.
And I want to thank you so much for saving the day with my client that thought he had insurance and he didn't. So we have your back when you use us. Because you'd be surprised there's so many moving parts in a real estate transaction, and it doesn't stop at the close of escrow. It continues because you need insurance. You make sure that everything is dotted and your T's crossed. And we caught something that could have been a disaster without insurance when someone purchases over $1 million property, finds out they have no insurance. So I want to thank you for reaching out and taking care of this ASAP because that would have been very scary. And, I really am happy that I asked my clients about all this because a lot of people don't. They don't get involved. They just do what they do, and they don't get involved with the rest of the stuff. But I do because I want to make sure that everything is okay. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you again, Felicia, and I'm going to talk to you real soon, and I'm super excited for you being one of my first guest sponsors on New Year's week.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love doing your show, and I really, really, really appreciate you working with me. I do my best.
I know you do, and the best is pretty good for me. So, again, thank you. And we're going to take a break now, and we'll see you soon. We're going to have Precision Escrow on next, and we're going to talk a little more about more things you need to know.
When it comes to buying or selling your home, there's no room for error with your money. That's why Precision Escrow is the company you need to know. When selling your home, you want to make sure you're working with a company that has your best interest and keeps your money safe. That's why they use encrypted emails and secure trust accounting. Precision Escrow will follow the contract in detail from the beginning to the end and protect the parties involved. Working with Precision is like working with a huge family. Everyone is always smiling and cohesively working together for you. Check out their 5-star Yelp and Google reviews and see how they separate themselves from the competition. Whether you use an agent or sell your home yourself, they'll give you 30% off your transaction, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Use code RADIO30 to take advantage of the savings. Call Lauren Fredette, your representative, for more details. She's available 7 days a week during and after office hours. Call toll-free 877-393-4101. Let them help you through one of the most important decisions of your life.
At Substrata, they're dedicated to be your go-to general contractor. They are a premier builder of high-end custom homes from the ground up, major remodels and expansions, multi-unit construction, and commercial tenant improvements for both retail and office build-out. Their focus on details and personal attention have been constant from conception of the project to completion. They build stories not with pen and keyboard, but with steel and manpower. Visit substrata.com or call 424-702-5700.
Felicia Jurado Insurance Agency specializes in your small business, homeowners, auto, umbrella, and life insurance needs. Their personalized staff is passionate to help you save money while keeping all your valuable assets covered. During these times, many people are concerned about insurance and getting the best value for their dollar. Felicia Jurado's Insurance Agency understands this and approaches each situation uniquely. Felicia Jurado's Insurance Agency has friendly hometown customer service reps that are ready to help you today. 661-288-2001.
You just had an accident. Now what?
I'm Caesar from Body Shop 661. After you get into a car accident and call your insurance company, chances are they're going to send you to a cut-rate auto body just to save themselves some money.
So, what do I do?
Call me at Body Shop 661. Your car will get taken care of as if it were my own. No second-rate parts, and the job isn't finished until it's done right. Body Shop 661 handles all types of vehicles, foreign and domestic. Plus, I work with all insurance companies.
Locally owned and operated for over 20 years. On Ruther, just past Home Depot. Call Body Shop 661 at 251-2252.
La Rocca Inspections provides 4 of the most needed inspections when buying or selling real estate, and homeowners love their property reviews. Since 1994, they serve the greater Los Angeles area and its 100-plus communities. Schedule residential or commercial inspections for your comprehensive reports. Their inspections can save you money on repairs. Go to laroccainspections.com and download the free guide to inspections. Call now for your free quote, 818-951-1795.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Listed by Mina Kuper, Trust, Probate, Divorce, and more. And that's real estate, that is. I'm a real estate agent, and I am happy to be here talking to all of you. And today I have another one of my sponsors, which is Lauren Fredette with Precision Escrow. And they are just amazing. They've helped me on a lot of deals, and some of my deals are complicated because I do a lot of trust and probate work and divorce work, and there can be a lot of moving parts. And so you need a pitcher, a catcher, and you need a referee, a coach. So that's who I have in place. So Lauren, tell everybody exactly what escrow is and why it's so important.
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me on with you guys. This is always so fun to do. Escrow, a lot of people don't know what escrow is, and we are kind of the orchestrator in a whole transaction. We are a neutral third-party position in the transaction, and we communicate with everybody. We communicate with the buyers, with the sellers, with the agents, with title, with all the other affiliates that you need to have a transaction close. the mortgage, refinance, the lenders, everybody. And we make sure that everything is filed timely. We make sure that everything is legal. We make sure that there's no, fraud going on. We spend a lot of money on all our security and all our emails, encrypted emails, to make sure there's no issues with wire transfers and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of facilitate the whole shebang.
And typically when someone puts an offer in on property, so you have for sale by owners, right? And
right. Okay.
How do you handle those? Although I think it's best to have a professional handling it because of things that can go wrong. And you get tied up with a buyer that's not the right buyer. You're going to be hanging around for a long time and possibly lawsuits. But just for giggles, let's talk about what do people do when they're selling their own property?
Yeah. So we will walk them through everything, and that's kind of the cool thing about working with Precision Escrow and working with us is you will have a rep, which is me, and I'm available 24 hours a day. We have our in-house support manager who's available, and you'll have the escrow officer's cell phone number, which a lot of companies don't allow, they don't do that. So we're available nights, weekends, before hours, after hours. So if someone was to do a for sale by owner, we could still walk them through the whole process. The only thing about doing for sale by owner is, like you mentioned, that it's better to have a professional because we can't give any kind of legal advice. So we can't really advise the buyers and the sellers legally what to do. When you have a real estate agent, that's kind of why you hire a real estate agent, because they are the professionals and to walk you through those steps. But we can still help for sale by owners, and we'll still help them walk through the process. We'll just talk to them directly instead of reaching out to their agent and helping them that way.
Yeah, and you're great at that. And I remember it was about 2 years ago. I had contacted, it was a referral. They were selling their house. They wanted to do it on their own. They went an agent and back and forth. And I said, try it, see how it goes. I'm not here to sell anyone. I'm just here to help people. So I get a call. It was a perfect example. It was a horrible situation. But they accepted an offer from somebody, and it was 2 weeks went by, and they didn't put money in escrow. Then what's the expiration date that escrow has before you can, close the escrow? Is there an expiration without putting funds in?
No, so generally the escrow is not even really open until the buyer actually sends in the deposit. We can pull a number and stuff, but it's not technically opened until there's some sort of commitment from the buyer, because we normally go off of the purchase contract, and that's kind of what we do is we just follow instructions based on purchase contracts and titles and stuff. So there's really not an expiration date unless it's specified somewhere. Right.
So it's interesting. So I think they waited, I don't know who she used as escrow, but they waited 2 weeks. The buyer finally put money into escrow, and it was a hard money loan that he was getting. And it was an inherited property. She inherited it. There was no probate or anything. It was just regular stuff.
Okay.
And the guy opened escrow, he put the money in escrow, and then the hard money lender was playing games.
Yeah.
And wasn't sure. And so these sellers are sitting there not knowing what to do. And I said, well, ask for specific, performance for them to perform or quit, And of course, the issue is, well, that's all fine and good, but let's say they don't do it, right? They just hang around, and you're in escrow, and you don't know whether your deal is going to close, and you have other places to go and other things to do, and you're in limbo. And I said, I can't intercept at this point because I wasn't the one that sold the property. I can only get involved when I am the agent on the deal.
Well, yeah.
And they had to
there's
get
so
an
much
attorney.
legal stuff there.
That's right.
Yeah.
They had to get an attorney, right? Because what are they going to do, those guys? Is it call Ghostbusters? Who are you going to call? You literally have to get an attorney involved, and that's $250, $450 an hour to try to get this person away from you and get him off of the purchase contract that you signed with someone who can't really buy your house. And, you know, we went back and forth, and, we did end up, dissolving that situation, and I did sell the house for them. But it was just very stressful, and they were looking to me after the fact, which I gave them names of attorneys. I know some great professionals, and ways to kind of like get legally get rid of him, so that they can actually sell their house. But it cost them a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of stress, and they said they would never do that again. So,
and that's really, such a perfect example. That's such a perfect example, because this whole buying and selling houses is stressful enough, but then when you have add more layers to it with people not cooperating and maybe not actually doing what they're supposed to do to perform in the transaction, that's why it is so important to have a professional in your corner helping you out, advising you what to do. Because, Mina, you do this all day long. You have so much experience that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the experience and kind of taking that off people's plates. I don't think people understand, actually how much goes into it. And it's a lot. It's stressful. And when you have someone on your side that you can trust, it's like there's no amount of money that can pay for that, because it's going to go through and it's going to work.
I think they paid an attorney over $10,000. And then they lost money. They had to do other things with the money, and then they lost money on that, and it cost them more than they would have paid me.
Right. And exactly.
So it was just so horrible to watch people, and I was there was nothing I can do, and that was upsetting, and then finally we did shake them, but it took just so much time and effort and work, and I did help them through. I didn't charge them extra. I trying to walk them through how to detach from the so-called buyer that wasn't appropriate. And it's so important. I know myself when I'm not. I know a lot of things, but I don't know everything. When I need something done, especially when it's a large purchase or something that is very, very particular, I get a professional that does that all day long.
Of course.
Right? Because I know that it's going to go smooth, and I could sleep at night. And if it costs me 20 cents more, then I'm okay with it, because at the end, there are no shortcuts to this,
Exactly.
And I can't begin to tell you, people are like, there was things that I've done, buying things or what have you. Oh, you could have done that yourself. I said, well, you know what? I don't have to worry about it. I'd rather deal with someone that does this all the time, because any hiccups that happen, they know what to do, and they will avoid, a probable problem. It's like, people that go through divorce and they try to go pro se and they represent themselves, and that's all fine and good. But, again, there's issues with that, and there are so many ways to try to handle things that of course it costs money, but, I know so many people that can help, and I know people that, are more in the mediation realm than litigation, and it all depends. And, you can get a private judge, to speed things up, and that's instead of dragging it on. There's so many different ways to approach things. And, I do offer consultations for people, especially with Prop 19 being passed. Is good and bad, right? There's two sides to it. And, I know a lot about it. And I have state attorneys that I work with that are very knowledgeable as well. And I know that, I like to look at people's portfolios of real estate and kind of pick and choose what I think would benefit them, so they have a trust based upon the old laws, right? And now maybe it's time to revisit, while everybody's still alive, revisit the portfolio, right? Revisit the portfolio and see if we can generate income instead of a possible, volcano erupting later and not benefiting the heirs or anyone as it was intended to do, right? And so I urge people, to talk to me about all this, because talking to me is free, right? I offer this for free because I want people to be in the right place, whether I end up making money on it or I don't. That doesn't matter. To me, I like to know that, people got some advice and it makes sense. We do it on paper, it works, numbers work with your real estate portfolios. And a lot of people do not have performing real estate, properties right now. And, there's, give and take. It's like anything that you invest in. There is never 100% guarantee in anything you do.
Of course.
Life is no guarantees about anything.
That's right.
So,
always up and down.
So you try to remedy these things. And there's so many different ways to do it, especially now. I know people freeze up. Do you find, Lauren, I didn't ask you, I was curious, since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Do you find, like, with escrow, people will open escrow and then, like, get cold feet, or they're just kind of in a weak place because they're not emotionally in the right state of mind, and rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with it because we all go through that wave. There's nobody that's discounted from that wave of feeling, oh, my goodness, I can't believe we're in this. But, what have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think buying and selling property is a huge decision, and I think that people sometimes get into this situation of doing it. And, more so it's buyers that I see that kind of pull out of the transaction. Mainly it could be because, like, maybe they're not being approved for the loan, or, the contingencies on the house, something popped up in the inspection or something like that. But right now it's such a stressful time, so I think everyone has to give themselves a little bit of grace and realize that this is just a hard time for everybody. So, but yeah, I mean, most of the time when they pull out, it's really not that big of a deal. It kind of depends on what the contract states and all that kind of stuff. So that's another reason why you want to have a professional on your side, because if you go through all these motions and put a deposit down and then decide to pull out, and you don't have anyone kind of telling you what the repercussions possibly could be, that's huge.
Oh, yes, it's very huge because, people, are fickle right now, not because they are fickle for no reason. There's quite a good reason for that. And they can have remorse, or there can be a change of life matters that happened. But as a seller, when you go into an escrow, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, it's very serious.
You stand the chance of being sued if you change your mind. So you really need to be sure that you want to sell it before entering into a purchase contract with someone. And
I agree.
I think it's super important to have, the right team, like anything else. Even title, I think I told you a story. I had someone I know, dentist, got divorced, and they ended up having the house and the kids. The spouse was out of the picture. They did a quick claim deed, but guess what? 4 years later, if he wants to refinance the house, he can't.
Oh,
turns out there's a $30,000 IRS tax lien on the property from an ex-wife. Because title was never changed. Someone forgot to do that. You see, and that's why I know I make sure all the corners are cleaned and there's not a speck of dust left for any backfires. And guess what? You had to pay that $30,000 because she doesn't make money, and it's on the house. And the more you wait, the bigger it gets. And that's another thing that was part of the divorce. And having a realtor that knows what they're doing will make sure that the title is transferred, because doing the quick claim deed is one thing, but showing the IRS the quick claim deed, they don't care, right? They care that that person is on title and they want their money. So one way or another, they're going to get it. So that's, and rightfully it is rightfully theirs, it just was an error on whoever. There was attorneys involved, there was people involved, and nobody changed the title.
Caught it.
Submitted the title.
Wow.
But I know, Lauren, we're going to wrap it up now, and I want to let everybody know how to get in touch with you. And when you say 24 hours a day, You want to put a little boundary on that? You may get a midnight call. People that can't.
Yeah. No, I mean honestly, when I say 24 hours a day, I honestly mean that because I mean
I know
think
I've called you at 9.
people are gonna
and you and Jeff.
Yeah, as long as I'm up and I will pick up, and if there's something that I can't help with, I will get the answers to be able to help people. But my cell phone number is area code 818-307-3636. Again, 818-307-3636, and I'm more than happy to help, with anything, and answer any questions, get any kind of documents that they need. I'm here as an extra hand to help out with it.
And you guys have been amazing, really, hands down. I mean, I would never switch escrow companies because you make it so easy. It's hard enough to put all the moving parts together.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
And we enjoy working with you.
It's really something, but, it's the universe pulls the right people together. So I'm really excited to get some more deals going, and I thank you. And more
thank you guys.
On the Facebook page, your information
will.
Down again, even though it's probably all over the place now anyway. But, please do.
I will.
And big hugs.
Thank you.
And,
Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you so much.
You're
all
welcome.
Right, Mina.
And I will see you soon, and we're going to take a break now. We'll be back.
When it comes to buying or selling your home, there's no room for error with your money. That's why Precision Escrow is the company you need to know. When selling your home, you want to make sure you're working with a company that has your best interest and keeps your money safe. That's why they use encrypted emails and secure trust accounting. Precision Escrow will follow the contract in detail from the beginning to the end and protect the parties involved. Working with Precision is like working with a huge family. Everyone is always smiling and cohesively working together for you. Check out their 5-star Yelp and Google reviews and see how they separate themselves from the competition. Whether you use an agent or sell your home yourself, they'll give you 30% off your transaction, which saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Use code RADIO30 to take advantage of the savings. Call Lauren Fredette, your representative, for more details. She's available 7 days a week during and after office hours. Call toll-free 877-393-4101. Let them help you through one of the most important decisions of your life.
At Substrata, they're dedicated to be your go-to general contractor. They are a premier builder of high-end custom homes from the ground up, major remodels and expansions, multi-unit construction, and commercial tenant improvements for both retail and office build-out. Their focus on details and personal attention have been constant, from conception of the project to completion. They build stories not with pen and keyboard, but with steel and manpower. Visit substrata.com or call 424-702-5700.
La Rocca Inspections provides 4 of the most needed inspections when buying or selling real estate, and homeowners love their property reviews. Since 1994, they serve the greater Los Angeles area and its 100-plus communities. Schedule residential or commercial inspections for your comprehensive reports. Their inspections can save you money on repairs. Go to laroccainspections.com and download the free guide to inspections. Call now for your free quote, 818-951-1795.
I love it.
Right on!
Your hometown station.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, and more. You just have me. I hope that's good enough. So it's just me right now. And I want to talk to you about the special things that I'm doing. Right now, as we speak, anyone who uses my services, I would love to give back $5,000 in either closing costs or $5,000 to your favorite charity from my commissions. So I want to give back because there's a lot of things going on that I have no control over. But what I do have control over is being able to help. And so that goes for anyone who contacts me, refers anyone to me. Wrote on how to sell your inherited property, tips and tricks. And you can always reach out to me and talk to me about that. And I just want to say, I'm really thankful and grateful that I ended up doing the show and this was an accident. And in life, they say there are no accidents. So whoever's listening, I hope that people do get a benefit from this. And my areas of real estate transactions are Ventura County, Los Angeles County, and Orange County. And on the trust, probate, and divorce matters, I do handle San Diego County. So we can help in other states as well. Sometimes you have annex probates where you need attorneys and realtors in other states, and I can kind of run the show, make sure everything gets done properly. And I think that's important because, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts, and I really enjoy it. It's like Rubik's Cubes for me, right? So it's kind of fun. The more I have to do, the better I do it. So please don't feel like you're ever overwhelming me, because if I can't handle something, I will tell you. And I just, I'm so excited to see people enjoying and watching me on the show. And I urge you all to reach out to me anytime, 310-345-8500. Again, that's 310-345-8500. And please reach out to me with any questions. If you want a copy of my book, please go to my website, listed by MinaKuper.com. I'll make some comments on my Facebook link as well. And again, please take advantage of my $5,000. And I look forward to hearing from you. Again, 310-345-8500. And Happy New Year. Stay safe. Be well. And I'll see you next Tuesday at 2 o'clock.